I am literally hyperventilating. Like, I am actively unwell. Because after watching what we just watched, I have come to the singular, undeniable conclusion that men are absolute, irredeemable garbage.
Oh, completely.
And the entire city of Portland is deeply, irreversibly cursed. And honestly, I am going to need a drink the size of a literal fishbowl just to cope with the sheer, unadulterated audacity playing out on my television screen right now.
Well, I mean, the bar for male behavior was already situated somewhere in the Earth's mantle, right? But somehow this show managed to bring in like an industrial excavator and just started digging a basement.
A literal basement.
Yeah. But honestly, the curse of Portland is a very real, very tangible phenomenon. It is like the flannel in that city is chemically laced with bad decisions, passive aggression, and a complete inability to communicate basic human emotions.
He absolutely has to be. There is literally no other explanation for the sociological nightmare we are witnessing. But anyway, babes, welcome back. We love you. We see you. And babes, we are so glad to have you.
Yes, we are.
Grab a glass, grab a weighted blanket, lock your doors, deadbolt your windows, and please hide your hockey sticks.
And maybe, do a full perimeter check of your driveway before you pull in tonight. Just a thought.
Oh my God.
A little pro tip for the Snark squad today, because apparently the suburbs are a contact sport now.
Too soon. That is too soon, but also absolutely necessary for survival. Okay, before we spiral completely into the psychological and legal nightmare that is Paula's life, we need to talk about our survival juice for the day.
We definitely do.
We need to talk about the drink of the week because, babes, the peach mango sangria is on deck, made with fruit scotto, of course, and let me tell you, this drink is an entire vibe.
It is aggressively vibrant. Like, I am looking at my glass right now, and it is the exact color of a sunset you only ever see on a glossy luxury resort brochure. You know,
Oh, totally.
like the kind that costs entirely too much money and requires a private seaplane to reach. It looks radioactive, but in a chic, expensive way.
Exactly. It is giving intense summer love. It is giving unapologetic tropical vacation energy. It is literal sunshine poured over ice in a glass main character summer and just absolute poolside delusion.
Poolside delusion is the perfect way to describe it.
Right. Like, I am sitting here in my living room staring at a pile of mail I really need to open. But in my mind, in my soul, I am on a yacht in Ibiza, wearing a massive floppy hat, absolutely ignoring my responsibilities and pretending I do not know what a credit card bill even is.
See, that is the precise danger of a fruity drink.
Yeah.
It is completely insidious. You think you are just hydrating. You think, oh, it is just a fun little peach beverage. It basically counts as a serving of fruit.
It has real fruit in it.
Right, but then 45 minutes later, you are drafting a text message to an ex from 4 years ago,
Yeah.
asking if they ever think about that disastrous trip to Cabo where you both got food poisoning.
Oh no, not the Cabo text.
Yes. Fruity drinks taste like zero consequences, which, analytically speaking, is mathematically how you arrive at the most devastating consequences of your adult life.
It is so true, and it makes me spiral. Why do fruity drinks always taste so dangerous? They go down like juice. You literally forget there is alcohol involved until you try to stand up and your knees just temporarily forget how joints work.
Exactly. The gravity just shifts.
And sangria specifically, sangria has this psychological effect on me where it makes me feel inherently deeply wealthier than I actually am. I hold a heavy glass of sangria with the little floating pieces of fruit bumping against the rim, and suddenly I feel like I own a wraparound porch in Nantucket and a purebred golden retriever named Bentley.
It is the fruit garnish. It is a status symbol hidden in a beverage. The moment you are required to actively chew your drink, your brain assumes you have ascended to a higher tax bracket.
Yes, you are dining.
You aren't just drinking, you are dining.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I also have a working theory that summer drinks just fundamentally hit harder than winter drinks.
Wait, say more about that.
Well, winter drinks are heavy, right? They are oppressive. You drink a hot toddy or a thick stout beer, and your body immediately says, okay, it is time to hibernate. Put me under a weighted blanket and turn on a documentary about snow leopards.
Oh my God, yes! That is so accurate.
But a peach mango sangria. That drink wants you to start a neighborhood rumor, buy a jet ski on financing, or tell your boss exactly what you think of their new haircut.
It is the chaotic, unbridled energy of the sun distilled into liquid form. And honestly, the concept of chaotic energy in the home brings me to something incredibly important.
Oh boy, here we go.
Babes, we need to have a serious family meeting right now. We need to pause and discuss house rules because, as you know, growing up in Canada, it was always universally, unconditionally, non-negotiably Shoes off in the house.
It wasn't a mere rule. It was a fundamental law of physics, right up there with gravity.
Literally.
You cross the threshold of a home, the boots come off, period.
Yeah.
No debate, no hesitation, no waiting for a formal invitation to disrobe your feet.
Nobody even asked. You just intuitively knew. If you walked into someone's house, the very first thing your brain commands you to do is look down, locate the little designated rubber mat by the door, and unlace your snow-covered, salt-crusted, gray sludge-covered boots.
Yeah, you have to.
Because the absolute visceral horror of outdoor shoes on indoor carpets, my soul literally leaves my body just visualizing it.
The idea of tracking city street shoes onto a surface where people actively sit, lie down, or walk barefoot is nothing short of a biohazard.
A literal biohazard.
Think about what is on a sidewalk. Think about the public restrooms, the subway grates, the mystery puddles that never evaporate even in July. To bring that ecosystem into a living room is an act of biological warfare.
Yes.
I instantly, unapologetically judge a house based on the cleanliness of their floors. If I walk in and your floors are questionable, I am immediately analyzing every other life choice you have ever made.
Yeah.
If you cannot respect a baseboard, how can I trust your moral compass?
I am so glad we are on the same page. So, babes, prepare your hearts and minds to be absolutely horrified. I need to share a trauma with you.
I am bracing myself.
A mutual friend of ours recently admitted out loud using her vocal cords with zero visible shame that she runs a shoes-on household.
And she didn't even whisper it. She said it with her whole chest.
But it was nothing.
Just casually dropped, "Oh yeah, we leave our shoes on," into the conversation. Like she was telling us she recently switched to oat milk in her lattes, or that she started doing Pilates. The casualness was chilling.
I am still horrified. Like, I am actively spiraling. I haven't slept properly since that brunch. I look at her entirely differently now.
I mean, how could you not?
Every time we hang out, my eyes are just darting down to her feet. I am analyzing her tread patterns. I am imagining the microscopic nightmare she is stamping onto her beautiful cream-colored rugs.
I have spent the last 4 days trying to understand the pathology of it. Is it a convenience thing? Does bending over to untie a sneaker ruin the flow of her day?
Maybe. I don't know.
Or is it an aesthetic thing? Does she genuinely believe that her perfectly curated athleisure outfit is rendered incomplete without pristine white sneakers standing on a vintage Persian rug?
Probably.
I am trying so hard to be open-minded, but my analytical brain is just aggressively calculating the microbial math happening on her baseboards right now.
I cannot trust it. I really can't. It forces me to ask the hard questions, like, can shoes-on households ever truly be trusted in a crisis? What other basic societal boundaries are they casually crossing?
It is a slippery slope.
It really makes me think about guest etiquette overall and the wildly weird house rules people enforce, because we have all been to that one house that makes you instantly sweat. What is the one thing that instantly makes you uncomfortable when you step into someone else's home?
Besides the audible crunch of a street shoe grinding dirt into a pristine hardwood floor?
Yes, besides that.
For me, it is when they do not have a visible trash can in the guest bathroom. That is an act of hostility.
Oh my God, the hidden trash can.
You are essentially holding your guests hostage to their own garbage. You expect me to wrap a used tissue in toilet paper and casually transport it out of the bathroom like I am smuggling contraband. It is psychological torture.
Yes. The panic of the missing trash can. Okay, for me, it is when a host tells you, oh my gosh, make yourself totally at home. My house is your house. But then they literally hover and watch you like a starving hawk the second you open their refrigerator.
Oh, the fridge hovers.
Do not offer me the fridge if your eyes are going to dart to the expensive hummus the second my hand moves. Do not invite me into the kitchen if you have territorial anxiety over your organic blueberries.
Exactly. It is a hospitality trap. It is a test you are destined to fail. But honestly, we need to lock down our own firm, non-negotiable house rules very soon. Because, babes, we have an announcement.
Oh my God, we do.
We might have finally locked down the Airbnb for our highly anticipated 4th of July party.
Yes, babes. It is officially happening. The deposit is pending. The group chat is losing its mind. And yes, babes, it is a lake house.
God help us all. The insurance premiums alone.
It is the ultimate dream lake house vibe. I am talking about a massive wraparound deck with Adirondack chairs. I am talking about a giant stone fire pit for midnight gossip.
Obviously.
I'm talking about a private wooden dock extending out into the dark, mysterious, slightly terrifying waters of the lake. I'm already in full hyperfixation mode planning the snacks. We need an entire structurally sound charcuterie station. edition. I am talking 3 types of Gouda, artisanal crackers that cost way too much, and we need this peach mango sangria flowing out of one of those giant glass dispensers with the little silver spigot.
We need to figure out the playlists immediately, because the auditory environment dictates the behavior of the guest.
Oh, 100%.
We need a daytime chill playlist for when everyone is pretending to read books on the deck. We need a sunset transition playlist when the sangria starts hitting. And we need a midnight chaos playlist for when people start suggesting we go for a night swim.
The night swim is always where it goes wrong.
Always. But more importantly, beneath all this aesthetic planning, we need to look in the mirror and ask ourselves a very serious, sobering question. Are we actually responsible enough to host a multi-day, multi-personality lake house party?
No, absolutely not. We are completely unqualified. I am already spiraling about every single thing that could and will go wrong. Someone is going to drop their expensive new phone directly off the dock into the lake and ruin the vibe for 3 hours.
Oh, guaranteed.
Someone is going to get entirely too much sun on day 1, refuse aloe vera, and have a full-blown emotional breakdown by the fire pit over a slightly burnt hot dog.
And someone is going to clog the only working toilet on the main floor and not tell anyone out of sheer shame, and the entire plumbing system of this historic lake house will back up.
Stop, I am already stressed.
It is a pressure cooker. You take a dozen people, remove them from their comfortable daily routines, trap them in a single location with limited resources, add aggressive UV rays, questionable insect life, and way too much alcohol, and you just sit back and wait for the inevitable explosion.
Which is the exact psychological pressure cooker we witnessed this week. Trap a woman in a dead marriage, add a networking party with an openly hostile mistress, sprinkle in some Pinot Grigio, and the explosion isn't just metaphorical. It is a dead body in a driveway in Portland.
What a transition.
Thank you. Babes, we have to talk about Chapter 4 of the Snark side's current obsession, because Raisins finally gave us the origin story of Paula's trauma, and I am still shaking.
Let's just systematically unpack this, because we've been sitting here for weeks analyzing present-day queens, wondering what horrific event forced this woman to flee across the country, change her identity, and live in a constant state of hypervigilance.
We needed answers.
We have been waiting for the Portland flashback. And let me tell you, it delivered nothing but a parade of crimson red flags, staggering emotional neglect, and vehicular manslaughter.
I am vibrating with rage just thinking about it. Let's start right at the very beginning of the flashback. The absolute death rattle of a marriage. 2 years ago, in the rainy, gloomy aesthetic of Portland.
So gloomy.
We open in the master bedroom, and Paula is desperately trying to resuscitate her flatlining relationship. She wants to spice things up. She bought the lingerie. She is suggesting a little role play. She is putting herself out there and making the terrifyingly vulnerable effort to reconnect with her husband.
And Karl.
Ugh, Karl.
Karl, the human equivalent of a damp, lukewarm, slightly mildewed washcloth, just groans and says he wants to just, quote, do it.
He literally cannot fathom the concept of putting in 10 seconds of imaginative, emotional effort for his wife. He is lying there on the mattress like a piece of unassembled IKEA furniture, just waiting for the situation to resolve itself with zero input on his end.
It is pathetic. Now, analytically speaking, a passionless marriage isn't a crime. Relationships ebb and flow. People fall into ruts. Stress cools the libido. We know this.
Right. Totally normal.
But Karl's response isn't just a symptom of being tired. It is aggressively dismissive.
Yeah.
It's contemptuous. He isn't just rejecting the role play. He is rejecting her attempt at intimacy. He is an insufferable douche.
He is the absolute worst. I was spiraling over the sheer, palpable, emotional neglect written all over Paula's face in that scene. You can literally watch her soul deflate, her shoulders drop, the light leaves her eyes.
It's hard to watch.
She is begging for connection, for a spark, for anything other than a silent missionary position routine in the dark with a man who probably thinks black pepper is too spicy for his palate. And he just shuts her down completely, leaving her feeling foolish for even trying.
Which perfectly sets the toxic emotional stage for the party of doom that follows. Because immediately after this humiliating rejection, they have to pack up their lives and go to Karl's boss, Bryce's house for a kid's birthday party.
Oh my God, the corporate kids party?
A child's birthday party that is actually just a thinly veiled corporate networking event.
Yeah.
Which is universally recognized as the absolute worst, most soul-sucking kind of party in existence.
The ultimate innermost circle of hell. You have toddlers screaming, you have forced small talk about Q3 projections, and Karl is sweating through his shirt. He is sucking up so incredibly hard to Bryce.
He is sweating so much.
He wants that promotion so bad you can smell the desperation. He buys this ridiculously, absurdly expensive giant plastic toy for Bryce's kid, and what does he do? He leaves the price tag on it. On purpose.
It is so gross.
He intentionally leaves a glowing neon sign of his financial expenditure right on the box to make sure the boss knows exactly how much money he dropped. It is so profoundly tacky. I literally had to pause my TV, stand up, and take a lap around my living room to cool down.
It is aggressively transparent.
Yeah.
It is the clumsy power move of a desperate, fundamentally mediocre man trying to purchase respect because he inherently knows he has no actual personality, charm, or genuine talent to lean on.
Literally zero talent.
He thinks it makes him look like a heavy hitter, but it actually just signals extreme insecurity. Bryce probably looked at that tag and immediately lost all respect for him. And while Karl is busy doing this pathetic performance art of corporate brown-nosing, Paula is completely drowning.
She is drowning in the deep end of solitary childcare. Little Hazel, who is a sweet angel baby who did nothing wrong, is running around a stranger's house wearing two completely different shoes.
It's different shoes.
Which, as any mother or anyone who has ever babysat a toddler knows, is just the chaotic reality of trying to wrestle a squirming child out the front door. You just grab what fits and run. But does Karl look over, see his wife struggling, and step in to help parent his own child?
Obviously not.
No, he entirely ignores his toddler, entirely ignores his wife, and zeroes in on his female co-worker.
Mallory.
Do not even speak her name in my house. My blood pressure is physically spiking.
We have to talk about her.
Ugh, Mallory. Karl completely abandons Paula to go stand in the corner of this expansive living room, whispering, giggling, leaning in close, and blatantly aggressively flirting with Mallory across the room, while his wife is on her hands and knees wrangling a screaming toddler out from under a buffet table.
It is the brazenness of it that is so sociopathic. He is not even attempting to hide the emotional affair. He is fully, openly captivated by Mallory in a room full of their peers. And Mallory is absolutely eating it up with a spoon.
She loves it.
She knows exactly what she is doing. She is deliberately making direct eye contact with Paula from across the room while simultaneously throwing her head back and laughing at Karl's objectively terrible jokes. It is not just flirting, it is psychological warfare directed at the wife.
It is sick. It is twisted. Paula is standing next to a rented bouncy castle, holding a half-eaten piece of dry cake, watching her marriage die in 4K resolution. So Paula does what any sane, emotionally exhausted person would do.
She tries to leave.
Yes. She says, I'm done. My child is tired. I'm humiliated. We are leaving this house immediately. She marches up to Karl, interrupts his little giggle fest, and uses their agreed-upon marital safe word.
The safe word.
The word they explicitly chose together to mean, get me out of this situation immediately, no questions asked. It is an emergency. She looks him dead in the eye and clearly enunciates the word raisins.
Which, for the record, is a perfectly functional safe word. It is a little mundane, a little weird to drop into casual conversation, which is exactly how a safe word is supposed to function.
Yeah.
It clearly signals an emergency exit without causing a scene.
And Karl completely ignores it. He literally gaslights her in front of his mistress. He waves her off and says he needs more face time with the boss. He completely selfishly invalidates the one boundary they had set up.
Just zero respect.
But babes, that is not even the worst part. The ultimate betrayal. The moment that made me want to throw my full glass of peach mango sangria directly through my flat-screen TV. Mallory smugly chimes in with that little condescending homewrecker smirk on her face and casually mentions that she and Karl have their own work safe word. Ficus. The sheer, unadulterated, catastrophic audacity of the word ficus. How dare she? How dare they? Having a safe word with your husband is a sacred bond. It is a tool of trust.
It is very intimate.
Having a secret botanical-themed safe word with your female coworker who you are actively emotionally cheating with and revealing it in front of your struggling wife? I was screaming at my television. I am still screaming right now.
Okay, let's take a breath and break this down analytically, because there are layers to this devastation. First of all, the boundary violation is astronomical. It is a blatant assertion of dominance by Mallory.
Oh, she was marking her territory.
She absolutely was. But secondly, and I say this with a heavy heart knowing how much it hurts, ficus is objectively, linguistically, and symbolically sexier than raisins.
Excuse me. Are you defending this?
I am not defending the infidelity. I am analyzing the vocabulary. Think about it. What is a raisin? A raisin is a shriveled, dehydrated, sad little dried grape. It is the fruit that ruins perfectly good oatmeal cookies because you think they're chocolate chips until you bite into them and experience crushing disappointment. It is depressing. It implies a lack of moisture, a lack of life.
Okay, when you put it like that.
Right. But a ficus is a lush, vibrant, green indoor plant. It implies growth. It requires tending. It requires care. It implies oxygen and life. The undeniable fact that Karl and Mallory's secret illicit work word is objectively cooler and more vibrant than the marital safe word is a profound poetic tragedy for Paula. It is the final symbolic nail in the coffin of that marriage.
I hate you so much right now because you are completely right. Ficus is sexier, and the worst part is Paula instantly knows it too. You can see the realization hit her face.
You can see her break.
The sheer humiliation of being outranked by a houseplant. So she doesn't fight. She grabs Hazel, she grabs her keys, and she walks out of that party of doom. Alone. Tipsy. And absolutely, terrifyingly spiraling into the abyss.
Which brings us, tragically, to the driveway manslaughter.
The drive home, oh my God, the tension in this scene was suffocating. Hazel is finally asleep in the car seat in the back. Paula is driving through the dark, wet Portland streets. She has had a few glasses of wine at the party. She is openly sobbing. She is talking to herself, just obsessively replaying Mallory's smug little face and the word ficus over and over in her head.
We have all been there. Driving alone at night and crying over betrayal is a universally understood female experience.
Minus the impending vehicular manslaughter part, ideally. That is where the universal relatability sharply drops off.
Yes, I would hope so.
Right? Because she turns onto her street, she pulls into her dark driveway, she's blinded by her own tears, and bam! The most sickening thud you have ever heard. She hits something. Or someone. And my stomach just dropped to the floor because my immediate thought was, there is no way this was a simple accident.
It was too perfectly timed.
Next thing we know, the timeline jumps. We cut back to Karl at the party, schmoozing when he gets a frantic, hysterical phone call. He and Mallory, because of course Mallory immediately invites herself along to the most intimate family emergency imaginable, rush back to Paula's house.
And what is the tableau they walk into? Caleb.
Yeah.
The neighborhood drunk. The guy who was aggressively harassing them on the sidewalk earlier in the episode.
Yeah.
He is dead in the driveway.
Dead.
Blood is pooling on the concrete, and Paul is just sitting on the stoop, completely catatonic, wrapped in a blanket, staring into the middle distance in a state of profound shock.
She claims he jumped out. She swears up and down it was an unavoidable accident. It was pitch dark. It was raining. She was crying. And he just stepped out of the shadows like a ghost.
But the show doesn't let us rest on that.
No. Babes, the show refuses to let us believe that. Because 10 minutes later, they give us a micro flashback. A tiny blink and you miss it, 2-second flashback. And what do we see?
We see the unvarnished truth. We see Paula sitting behind the wheel, staring dead ahead, screaming, "My fucking car." And we see Caleb standing squarely in front of the hood, refusing to move, screaming back, "Fuck your car." And then the impact.
So I have to ask you, was it an accident or was it straight up murder?
It is the question of the season.
Did Paula, blinded by the blinding, suffocating rage of a dead marriage, an emotionally cheating husband, and the soul-crushing humiliation of the word ficus, just slam her foot on the gas pedal and intentionally mow down the neighborhood nuisance because he was standing in her way?
That is the million-dollar legal and moral question of the entire series. If we strip away the emotion and look strictly at the facts, she was legally intoxicated, she was highly emotionally compromised, and Caleb was aggressively blocking her path to her own home.
Right.
Was it a premeditated, cold-blooded assassination? No. She didn't hunt him down, but was it a moment of snapping? Was it a split-second decision to use a 2-ton vehicle as a weapon fueled by displacement of marital rage? Highly, highly probable.
I mean, she looked furious.
The intent on her face in that micro flashback did not look like a panicked woman desperately hitting the brakes. It looks like a woman who had finally hit her absolute limit and decided to accelerate through the obstacle.
I am sick. I am physically ill thinking about the weight of that secret. But you know who wasn't sick? You know whose heart rate didn't even spike? Mallory the Fixer.
Olivia Pope in a Zara blazer. A sociopath with a great blowout.
Exactly. The second Mallory steps onto that driveway, she immediately takes complete dictatorial charge of the scene. Paula is shaking. Karl is completely useless, standing there with his mouth open, and Mallory just surveys the dead body, looks at Paula's terrified face, and says, "Go inside right now and chug a massive, overflowing glass of wine."
It is actually a brilliant, terrifyingly quick, albeit highly illegal legal strategy. Let's analyze the mechanics of it. If the cops arrive right then and take a breathalyzer or a toxicology report, Paula's blood alcohol content will be over the limit from the party.
Right, proving she drove drunk.
Exactly, proving she drove drunk and killed a man. But if she goes into her kitchen and visibly chugs a bottle of wine after the accident has occurred, she can legally claim to the police that her high BAC is entirely the result of shock drinking post-trauma.
Oh my God.
She can say, I hit him while sober, I panicked, and I drank to calm my nerves. It introduces reasonable doubt. It muddies the forensic waters completely.
I was so profoundly disgusted by Mallory in that specific moment. She is so cold, so calculating, so devoid of basic human empathy for the dead man on the pavement. But at the exact same time, I was begrudgingly, secretly respecting the elite-level crisis management. She saved Paula from a 20-year prison sentence in about 4 seconds of critical thinking.
But we have to ask the real question here. We have to look at the motivation. Why is Mallory, a woman who clearly despises Paula and wants her husband, so eager to leap in and actively cover up a major felony vehicular manslaughter for a woman she barely knows?
Because deep down, beneath the home-wrecking exterior, she is a girl's girl who believes in protecting women from the carceral state.
Absolutely, unequivocally not.
I know.
It is not feminism. It is pure, unadulterated leverage. Mallory wants Karl. If she's the one who saves Paula from prison, she officially owns Karl. She becomes the savior, the architect of their freedom, and the sole keeper of the darkest, most ruinous secret in their entire lives.
That is so dark.
She essentially bonds Karl to her forever through shared trauma and criminal complicity. It is the ultimate Machiavellian power move to secure the man and force the wife into permanent submission.
She is an absolute psychopath.
Yeah.
She literally traded her silence on a dead body for a mediocre middle management husband. I simply cannot fathom the darkness in that woman's soul. And that terrifying flashback brings us crashing right back into present-day Queens. Because this suffocating Portland secret is bleeding directly into the current dismemberment murder investigation.
And to the clueless cops, Detectives Gonzalez and Baxter, the dynamic duo of precinct incompetence.
I cannot handle Detective Baxter for one more minute of screen time. He is an absolute idiot. He is the walking, talking poster child for failing upward in municipal law enforcement.
His entire working theory of the case is so deeply flawed, so physically impossible, that it crosses the line from bad police work into absurdist comedy.
He is obsessed. He has tunnel vision. He is entirely fixated on the ridiculous idea that Paula, who, let's remind the audience, is maybe 5'1" and 110 pounds soaking wet after a big lunch, somehow managed to physically overpower Trevor.
Trevor, who is a giant.
Trevor, a.k.a. Jeffrey Thorwald, who is an objectively tall, muscular, highly fit camboy. Baxter honestly believes that tiny Paula strangled this giant man to death, chopped him into pieces, cleaned the entire apartment like a professional hitman, leaving zero DNA, but somehow in the midst of this criminal masterpiece, she accidentally left her own personalized giant hockey stick leaning against the wall.
It literally defies the basic laws of physics, anatomy, and standard logic. A professional cleanup crew that knows how to sanitize a dismemberment scene with bleach and luminol doesn't just casually forget a giant identifying piece of sporting equipment at the scene.
Exactly. It makes no sense.
But Baxter is so desperately married to his narrative because Paula is an easy, convenient target. She lied initially about knowing the victim. She acts incredibly suspicious because she is hiding a totally different crime, so Baxter's just aggressively trying to jam a square peg into a round hole so he can close the file and go to lunch.
I want to roast him over an open fire. He makes me so angry. Thank God for Detective Gonzalez. She's the only person in that entire precinct with fully functioning, firing brain cells. She is smart, she is deeply skeptical, and she just stands there looking at Baxter like he is a toddler eating paste out of a jar.
And she bets $50 on absolutely everything, which is an incredible, highly specific character trait that I love.
Is the best.
She is just standing there watching this investigative circus unfold and quietly making side money off her partner's glaring incompetence. She knows there's way more to the story. She knows Paula is hiding something massive, the Bartlett situation, but her analytical brain tells her there is zero chance Paula actually swung an axe at Trevor.
Because we know who did it. The audience knows. It was Dennis the Mastermind.
The absolute sociopath of the century. The Patrick Bateman of Queens.
Babes, the way Dennis sits in that interrogation room and plays the grieving, devastated boyfriend for the cops, it is chilling. He sits there, his eyes get wide, the tears perfectly well up, his lower lip does that little tremble. He plays the role of the shattered lover perfectly. And more importantly, he has an absolute ironclad alibi.
The 2-hour sensory deprivation physical therapy appointment at Elmhurst Healing PT.
I was literally losing my mind pacing around my coffee table when they revealed the truth of how he pulled this off. Because the cops do their due diligence, they check it out. The CCTV camera clearly shows Dennis walking into the clinic. The receptionist confirms he was there. The camera shows him walking out 2 hours later. But what actually happened behind that closed door?
It is a masterclass in premeditation. He books a 2-hour therapeutic session in a dark, highly concentrated saltwater floating tank. The staff locks him in the room and leaves him completely alone, expecting him to float in the dark. The second the door shuts, he sneaks out the tiny bathroom window of the clinic. He briskly walks to a hidden secondary car he strategically stashed a few blocks away. He drives to Trevor's apartment, commits a brutal murder, chops up the body into transportable pieces, meticulously cleans the entire gruesome scene, drives back to the clinic, sneaks back into the tiny window, strips completely naked, gets back into the saltwater tank, and walks out the front door to greet the receptionist right at the 2-hour mark.
It is genius. It is
Yeah.
terrifying, evil, calculated genius. But the logistics, I'm spiraling over the physical logistics of this plan. Have you ever actually been in a sensory deprivation tank?
I have. The concentration of Epsom salt alone makes your skin feel like a cured holiday ham.
Right. You are soaking wet. You are aggressively salty. You have to climb out of a high, narrow window. Are you putting your street clothes back on over a wet, salty, crusty body? And then, wait, my biggest issue with this entire sequence, we saw him walking down the street in broad daylight with a giant bone saw.
This is exactly where my analytical brain had to officially suspend its disbelief and just accept the television magic. I absolutely applaud the sociopathic time management required to execute a murder and a cleanup in 110 minutes.
Sure, it's fast.
But you simply cannot walk down a busy street in Queens, New York at 10 in the morning casually holding a large, highly visible, terrifying bone thaw and not immediately end up on 7 different Ring doorbell cameras, a bodega security feed, and a viral TikTok live stream.
Someone would have filmed him. Some teenager would have been like, look at this weirdo with a saw, hashtag NYC, hashtag Queens. It makes absolutely no sense. And he didn't even attempt to put it in a gym bag or a duffel bag. He just carried it down the sidewalk like a briefcase.
It perfectly illustrates the sheer arrogance of the killer. He truly thinks he is invisible. He thinks he is smarter than the entire city. But his arrogance is rapidly devolving into intense paranoia, because now the hunter has become the stalker. He is actively hunting Paula.
That scene where he gets the text message, he is just sitting there, and his phone buzzes. A text from a mysterious contact labeled tech support. And the text is a crystal clear, high-resolution photo of Paula's driver's license, with her full real name, with her actual address. He knows exactly who she is now. He knows she was in the apartment, and he knows where she sleeps.
Which is exactly why Paula is backed into a terrifying corner.
Yeah.
She's getting aggressively squeezed by Detective Baxter. She's getting physically stalked by a dismemberment murderer. And she has literally 0 allies in the entire state of New York, except her snooping, boundaryless coworkers.
Jerry and Rudy. I have to confess, I hated them at first. I really, truly did. They were so annoying, so intrusive. But when Jerry casually sneaks onto Paula's open laptop and discovers the hidden webcam photos of Trevor, he's like, okay, you know what? Gen Z privacy violations for the absolute win.
Jerry possesses absolutely 0 respect for digital boundaries, personal space, or professional etiquette, which, ironically, is exactly the skill set you need when you are inadvertently conducting a shadow murder investigation.
Paula is furious, obviously, when she finds out they snooped. But then the reality sets in. She realizes she has literally no one else to turn to. If she goes to the cops, Baxter arrests her. So she makes a desperate choice. She decides to read Jerry and Rudy in on the secret. She tells them the whole truth about finding the body. And where, out of all the places in New York City, does she choose to have this highly sensitive life-or-death conversation? At a local dive bar during their weekly trivia night.
A specifically Hitler-themed trivia night.
I cannot. The side eye I was giving my television screen could have cut glass. Who in their right mind goes to a neighborhood bar that hosts a fascist dictator-themed trivia night? Who thought that was a good marketing strategy to sell cheap beer?
It is an incredibly aggressive, deeply weird choice by the writers. But analytically, I think it is meant to heavily underscore the surrealist absurdity of Paula's current life. She is sitting in a sticky booth, drinking a warm beer, confessing to being framed for a horrific dismemberment murder by a sociopath, while some guy on a microphone in the background is cheerfully asking the crowd what year the beer hall putsch took place. It is peak surrealism.
It is deeply, profoundly uncomfortable, but shockingly, the trivia night yields actual results, because Paula pulls out her phone and shows them the grainy, terrifying video of the attacker in the apartment. And Jerry, utilizing her elite terrifying FBI-level Gen Z Instagram stalking skills, zooms in on the video. She hyper-focuses on the attacker's hand holding the weapon, and she recognizes a ring.
A remarkably ugly, incredibly specific cringe ring.
A super cringe, chunky silver ring. And Jerry immediately remembers seeing that exact same horrific piece of jewelry on an old, buried Instagram photo of one of Trevor's sketchy friends. Boom. The clue. The connection. The digital footprint never ever lies.
It is genuinely the only solid, actionable lead anyone has managed to uncover in this entire investigation. And it came from a 20-something fact-checker scrolling on her phone at a bar trivia night. The entire NYPD should be deeply embarrassed by their performance.
They should be entirely disbanded. Baxter needs to immediately hand in his badge and his gun, and Jerry needs to be promoted to chief of detectives by the mayor. Okay, Biggs, my heart is racing. We've unpacked so much trauma, and we need to process this logically. We need to transition into our specific segments because I have entirely too many chaotic feelings, and I need to categorize them before I explode.
Let's organize the chaos. Segment 1, the Summer Romance Delusion Award.
Yes. The Delusion Award. This is my favorite segment. We need to deeply discuss who from this specific chapter is living in the absolute biggest, most dangerous fantasy world, and we are going to rate their delusion levels from 1 to 10. The nominees are Paula, for desperately thinking Karl ever actually cared about her emotional or physical needs. Karl, for genuinely thinking he's a slick, respectable corporate parent while actively covering up manslaughter and conducting a brazen affair. And finally, Detective Baxter, for his utterly delusional, physics-defying murder theories.
I will take the floor first, and I will advocate passionately and aggressively for Karl to win this award. Karl is a staggering 10 out of 10 on the delusion scale. Karl genuinely, in his heart of hearts, believes he is the good guy, the protagonist in his own narrative.
Oh, he really does.
He thinks leaving a bright yellow price tag on a plastic toy makes him look like a Wall Street power player instead of a desperate suck-up. He thinks whispering in a well-lit corner with his mistress is subtle spycraft. He actually thinks that helping his wife cover up a dead body solely to secure his leverage to leave her for his new girlfriend makes him some sort of dark knight hero. He is operating on a level of psychological cognitive dissonance that frankly belongs in a medical journal.
Oh, Karl is deeply, fundamentally delusional. There is no arguing that.
Yeah.
But I am going to step up and advocate for Baxter. Baxter is an 11 out of 10 on the delusion scale. Karl's delusion is selfish and pathetic, but Baxter's delusion is actively dangerous to society.
Okay, that is fair.
Baxter is a taxpayer-funded, academy-trained detective who looks at a 110-pound exhausted woman and a 200-pound chopped-up muscular camboy and says, yes, absolutely, she chokeslammed him to the floor. He is willfully ignoring every single piece of actual forensic evidence because he wants an easy close before his shift ends. He is living in a fantasy world where basic logic and human anatomy simply do not exist.
Baxter is an idiot. Yes, his confirmation bias is staggering. But let's not discount the quiet delusion of Paula. Paula honestly thought the word raisins was going to magically save her crumbling marriage. Paula thought she could hit a man with her SUV, pack a bag, move to Queens, change her name, and just start her life over like shaking an etch-sketch. Yeah. That is a solid, undeniable 9 on the delusion scale. You cannot outrun a corpse, Paula.
Okay, fair point. They are all deeply unwell and need intense therapy. But Baxter takes the crown for me this week. He is a menace to the justice system, moving swiftly along. Segment 2, the Lake House compatibility test.
Oh, this is going to be an absolute unmitigated disaster of a hypothetical.
Inspired by our upcoming, highly stressful 4th of July party, we need to imagine inviting the cast of this show to our weekend lake house getaway. We need to be messy. We need to be highly specific. Who is getting a coveted invite and who is getting permanently banned from the property?
I will start with a highly controversial pick that I know will upset you. I am inviting Dennis.
I am vetoing this immediately. He will literally chop us up into pieces while we sleep. He travels with a bone saw.
Hear me out. Put your emotions aside and look at the logistics. Dennis is incredibly organized. He is hyper-punctual. He knows how to clean up a catastrophic mess so thoroughly that police-grade black lights don't even pick up a speck of DNA. If someone accidentally spills a pitcher of sticky peach mango sangria on the expensive white Airbnb couch, Dennis is exactly the guy you want on the scene.
Okay, but he's a killer.
He will have it looking brand new, smelling like bleach in under 10 minutes. Plus, he has incredible emotional control. He can fake cry on demand. He is a versatile, highly useful guest if you keep him away from sharp objects.
You are sick. You need to be studied. I'm locking my bedroom door and barricading it with a dresser at the lake house if you bring him. Dennis is absolutely, unequivocally not allowed. You know who else is absolutely left off the guest list? Mallory.
Well, obviously. That goes without saying.
She would show up late wearing a pristine white designer bathing suit that she has no intention of getting wet. She would immediately complain about the brand of bug spray we bought. She would instigate a massive crying in the bathroom drama by sunset, and she would absolutely purposefully try to flirt with and steal everyone's boyfriend by the fire pit just for the sport of it. She is a weaponized pick-me girl operating at the highest possible frequency. No Mallory's at the lake.
Completely agreed. Mallory is the exact type of person who demands a highly specialized, muddled herb mocktail when you're just trying to hand out lukewarm beers from a cooler. She drains the energy of the room. What about Jerry and Rudy?
Invited, but strictly invited to act as our personal perimeter security and do background checks on the other guests.
They are the intelligence division of the party. We set them up at the kitchen island, give them a fully charged laptop and a massive pitcher of sangria, and they will digitally infiltrate the neighborhood. They will find out if the neighbors are the type to call in a noise complaint to the cops before we even turn the Bluetooth speaker on. Plus, after a few drinks, I feel like Rudy is a genuinely fun time on a paddleboard.
Yes, they would be so fun once they clock out of their detective work. Okay, segment 3, house rules we need immediately. Inspired by the sheer unbridled chaos of everything we just watched, we need to create a list of ridiculous but absolutely necessary house rules to implement in our own lives to protect our peace.
I will lay down rule number 1. No texting exes after midnight under any circumstances. It is never historically a good idea. It is the emotional equivalent of driving a car down a dark highway without headlights. You will crash, and you will regret it in the morning.
Yes, stamp of approval. Rule number 2. No crying in shared bathrooms. If you need to have an emotional breakdown because of said midnight text, take it outside to the lake, take it to the spooky woods, take it to your car. Do not monopolize the only working toilet in the house while you weep over a man who still uses a 3-in-1 body wash.
Solid boundary. Rule number 3. No pretending glaring red flags are green. If a man brings a plastic gift with a massive price tag to a networking party, he is a walking, talking stop sign. Do not pull out your emotional paintbrush and try to paint that flag emerald green. Accept it for what it is and walk away.
Preach. Rule number 4, and this is perhaps the most important one on the list, absolutely, under penalty of law, NO, having secret safe words with your coworkers. If I ever find out you have a botanical-themed illicit safe word with a guy named Chad from accounting who wears floose vest, you are permanently evicted from my life. The word ficus is banned in this house.
It is a strict, zero-tolerance policy on office horticulture code words. I support it. And finally, rule number 5. No sneaking out of tiny bathroom windows to commit homicide while you are on the clock at physical therapy.
Just, standard Airbnb and general life etiquette, really. Please keep your dismemberment murders off the rental property and strictly adhere to reasonable business hours.
Let's bring it home with segment 4, maximum pleasure or maximum problem.
Okay, the rules are simple. We are going to choose the biggest, most pivotal decisions from the storyline, and we're going to debate whether they resulted in maximum pleasure or maximum problem. First up on the chopping block, Paula attempting to initiate lingerie roleplay with a wet blanket husband.
That is a maximum problem. You simply cannot force a passionate spark by rubbing damp wood together. It doesn't create fire, it just creates choking smoke and deep resentment. She humiliated herself trying to perform for a man who wouldn't even look up from his own inflated ego. She should have saved the expensive lingerie and the emotional effort for someone who actually possessed a pulse and deserved it.
Totally agree. Maximum problem all the way. It was painful to watch. Okay, next up, Karl leaving the price tag on the boss's kid's gift.
Again, maximum problem. It is tacky, it is transparent, and ironically, it actually makes him look incredibly cheap and desperate, not rich and successful. It is a massive, unforgivable social misstep that screams new money, or more accurately, no money, but I have a high credit limit.
It is so deeply embarrassing. My soul shriveled up like a raisin.
Oh.
Okay, what about Mallory stepping in and ordering Paula to chug the massive glass of wine to beat the police toxicology report?
Now, see, this is where it gets complicated. From a purely legal, survivalistic Olivia Pope standpoint, that is maximum pleasure, it worked perfectly. It successfully saved Paula from a guaranteed DUI manslaughter charge. It was an incredibly evil, manipulative thing to do, but analytically, it was highly effective crisis management.
I hate it so much, but you are right. It was a dark, twisted, morally bankrupt kind of pleasure watching her manipulate the legal system and the cops in real time. Last one, Jerry actively snooping through Paula's personal laptop without permission.
It is a maximum problem for Paula's fundamental right to privacy, but it is absolute maximum pleasure for the overarching narrative. Think about it. If Jerry doesn't cross that boundary and snoop, they never find the photos, they never zoom in on the video, they never find the cringe ring, and the plot completely stalls out. Jerry's total lack of ethical boundaries is literally the only thing driving the murder investigation forward right now.
Bless her toxic, boundaryless, extremely online little Gen Z heart. Babes, I am physically exhausted. My Apple Watch says my heart rate has been at 120 beats per minute for the last hour straight. We have unpacked the deep marital trauma, we have yelled about the curse of Portland, and we have firmly established that ficus is a banned, illegal word in this community.
We have done the Lord's work today. We have analyzed the chaos and found the underlying sociopathy.
We really, truly have. Thank you so much to the Snark Squad for hanging out, drinking sangria, and spiraling with us. We literally could not survive this messy, unhinged television without you holding our hands through it. But before we let you go back to your day, I need you all to sound off in the comments down below. We need definitive answers to settle these debates.
Number 1, are you a shoes on or a shoes off person? Be brutally honest, this is a safe space, but please know that we will silently judge you based on your answer.
Number 2, what is the weirdest, most uncomfortable house rule you have ever encountered at a friend's place? Spill the tea, name no names, but tell us everything. Number 3, if you were planning a chaotic weekend getaway, would you choose a secluded lake house or a crowded beach house? And number 4, who was the ultimate biggest problem of this specific chapter? Was it Karl the wet blanket? Was it Mallory the sociopathic fixer? Or was it Baxter the delusional detective? Let us know in the comments.
And please do not forget to like the video, comment your answers, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with your absolute messiest bestie. Send it to the friend who would definitely sneak out of a physical therapy clinic window just to ruin someone's life.
Yes, share it with them immediately. And babes, before we officially sign off, I want to leave you with one final, provocative, mind-bending thought to keep you staring at the ceiling tonight. We talked extensively about Dennis, we talked about his genius alibi, but I need you to think about this. Who on earth is the mysterious tech support person texting Dennis the stepmom's photo ID?
Exactly. Dennis isn't a lone wolf. Dennis isn't working alone in a vacuum. He has a guy. He has a network.
Who is it? Does Dennis have an entire highly organized underground network of sociopaths and hackers helping him run this camboy murder blackmail ring? And if so, how deep does this criminal conspiracy actually go? Is anyone in Queens actually safe?
Guess we will have to wait and see what the digital footprint reveals next week.
I'm going to have stress nightmares about bone saws and ring camera. Babes, stay messy, stay delusional, and we will see you on the Snark side.